When I was a kid, I enjoyed playing pretend with my friends at the local playground. While we were playing, sticks became swords, a bunch of rocks became a fortress, and trees became enemies as big as mountains. Nothing of it was real, but it felt completely real. We didn't need complex mechanics, skill trees, or progression systems to have fun. All we needed was imagination. In the past, games really embodied this sentiment. When it came to new ideas and mechanics, it felt like the sky was the limit. However, nowadays, it feels like games kind of forgot about that. They became bigger and more complex, sure, but by doing so, also became somewhat harder to be simply played and enjoyed. That's why I was completely surprised when a small indie game called Lil Gator Game came around and blew me away with its compelling story and relaxing gameplay. Instead of promising more optimization, it promises you something much more powerful: to give you back your imagination. I first heard about Lil Gator Game a few weeks ago while I was browsing Reddit. I was immediately intrigued by its cute art style and interesting story premise. You play as a young alligator, trying to convince his older sister to play with him again. You do that by playing pretend and transforming the island everybody lives on into one great fantasy adventure. This premise really hooked me from the start. I related so much to the deeper story it tells about growing up, losing your passion, and slowly trying to reconnect with it again. It made me reflect a lot on real life. Growing up means taking on many responsibilities. Many of us are often stressed, overworked, or simply exhausted. Our hobbies and passions often have to take a backseat. Lil Gator Game showed me how important it is to sometimes just let loose and have fun for a while. But what makes Lil Gator Game so special isn't just its story. It's the way the gameplay reinforces that message. Most games try to challenge you. They test your skills, your reflexes, and your mind. And that's completely fine. However, Lil Gator Game does something different. It invites you to simply play. Its combat consists of fighting and destroying some cardboard cutouts that function as enemies. You fight them with a stick, a wrench, or a giant pencil. The great battles you fight aren't about defeating enemies. They're about playing pretend. And that's exactly the point. The imagination is amplified a lot by the world surrounding you. It's a big island with beautiful vistas and meticulous detail. Everything is decorated to the max, which turns the island into one big playground, just like it was when we were kids. What makes everything even more believable is the way all the different NPCs are acting. Everyone plays into the imagination, and so helps a lot to let yourself be completely immersed into the charming world. Lil Gator Game doesn't just tell a story about imagination. It turns imagination into the core gameplay mechanic. And maybe that's what makes Lil Gator Game feel so special. It doesn't introduce revolutionary mechanics, but it reminds us of something we slowly start to forget as we grow older. When we were kids, play came naturally to us. A playground became an entire world, and the smallest adventure could feel enormous. But as life becomes busier and responsibilities pile up, that sense of play can quietly fade into the background. And that's not because it disappears, but because somewhere along the way, we stopped making space for it. And that's what Lil Gator Game captures so beautifully. It reminds us that play doesn't have to be productive. It does not have to be optimized. Sometimes it can simply exist for its own sake. And maybe growing up doesn't mean losing your imagination. Maybe it just means remembering how to use it again. And honestly, that's what games like Lil Gator Game remind me of. Sometimes the best gaming experiences aren't the most complex ones. They are the ones that simply let us play. Now I'm really curious about hearing from you. What game made you feel like a kid again? Maybe it was a childhood game you revisited, or maybe it was a completely new game, like Lil Gator Game was for me, that reminded you why you love gaming in the first place. Let me know in the comments. I genuinely love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy thoughtful videos about games, feel free to stick around and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.